Hey guys,
Hey,
it's Jill and Derick Dillard, and we are so happy to be here with y'all this evening. And we are just thrilled that you guys have purchased a copy of our book and that you have joined us for this live. So we also have Derick has a bunch of questions over here that you guys have submitted. Um, and so we are going to be getting into some of those. Also, I think on the Facebook Live, you'll be able to submit some more questions that we may or may not be able to get to. But anyway, we're so excited to be here with you guys and appreciative.
and just by way of introduction, I'm not sure what everyone's background has been with us, so just to get everyone on the same page, like Joel said, we've recently written a book, kind of chronicles our last 10 years really in our journey. Jill growing up on reality TV, 19 Kids and Counting, Jill and Jessica counting on, and kind of beginnings of our relationship, how we navigated establishing our own identity as a couple, as a family, and the challenges that come with that. And we recognize this is our story, but at the same time, there are people who can relate to many aspects of our book, our story. That is, whether it's leaving and cleaving. That's the words we use in the Christian language through the Bible. Whenever husband and wife come together from two families of origin and create their own identity, and sometimes that's more difficult, easier said than done, for sure. So this is kind of our journey, and we've not been on reality TV for like 6 years, but a lot's happened since then. So we hope you enjoy the book. Do you have anything else to say?
Yeah, so thank you guys for being on the Premiere Live signing. And I just want to point out that if you have not been able to purchase an autographed copy of the book and you want to, then you can do that at premiercollectibles.com/counting. That's here on the screen. And this live signing is the perfect way for people who won't be able to make it to one of our in-person events to be able to still get an autographed copy. So Derick and I will be signing some of these books during the course of this live event, and hopefully not sign what we're speaking, but actually sign our names and try and multitask here a little bit.
Greetings from Australia.
So yeah, but y'all feel free to drop more questions on Facebook if you're watching on Facebook, and then if you have already submitted your question online when you bought your book through Premiere Collectibles, then you will get priority, obviously, on over here where we have those questions. So that you can't see. Sorry,
where we have my laptop with our questions.
Anyway, so
I'm not very good at multitasking because I'm a guy, so I hear
so if
guys
you get
like waffles. So
if you get one that's like weirdly signed, it's probably because Derick was saying like spaghetti and he signed spaghetti.
Or I'll just focus on signing and then I'll talk. Whereas Jill can multitask wonderfully, so she'll be
sometimes,
talking.
except for at the end of the day where I'm
we were signing some of these books. We were signing some of these books earlier, and she was always like 10 ahead of me because I put quality into my signature. That's really what it comes down to.
Say my name is also easier to sign, shorter.
But I've also had more time signing Dillard, so it kind of comes down to
okay.
Evens out.
So
you want to get right into the questions?
Yeah, I'm going to move.
I better sign a book so that I don't get behind.
Okay, let's see. First question here.
I've always wanted to do this before.
Do you want to be the moderator here, or not the moderator?
I don't have a good radio voice. It always sounds awkward whenever I hear my own voice, but I'll do my best. Molly, I almost said Molly Maplewood, but your name's Molly from Maplewood, Minnesota, United States, asks, would you ever consider doing another TV show or special, but on your own terms? So I don't know if you know our story or if it sounds like you've already read our book, but if you don't know kind of the background of Molly's question, we were on a reality TV show but did not get to do it on our own terms. That was the main thing. I think a big misconception is that we were just against reality TV completely, which in some ways we are. But in other ways, it was more about the lack of control and not being able to do things, make decisions on our own terms. Not that we wouldn't have done it, but just we would not have just signed a blank check. Basically, Jill would not have signed a blank check.
Yeah, we didn't have any say so in the terms of the contract and all of that. And then we also just over the years have found how it's hard if you are on a reality TV show where you might tend to emphasize your kids a whole lot. And growing up on reality TV, that's something that I'm very sensitive to and still trying to like figure out where's the balance, even on social media.
Good point.
Trying to figure out what we're comfortable with, what we're not, especially in this age where everybody has to deal with that. Like every parent has to kind of feel like what am I okay with, what am I not okay with for my kids. And when you're on reality TV, and depending on what your show is about, if it's about your family or about like your kids and you're reliant upon them to keep the show going, then it kind of sometimes in my own life, I felt like it kind of crossed that line where it made it really difficult because I didn't have a whole lot of privacy in some situations because content was priority. So
I think that's one thing Jill touched on it that made our situation toxic was that the show, even by virtue of the name itself, relied primarily on the second generation, and someone not in the second generation was controlling all of it. So there's a lot of incentive to just rely on your kids for your income. But if we did another reality show, we wouldn't want it to rely on our kids so much, if at all.
Mm-hmm. Okay. We have another question from Pia.
Sorry, I hope
And
I'm pronouncing that right.
I don't know how to say. Yeah.
I saw. Sorry, not to interrupt you. I saw earlier someone's watching from Siloam Springs in our very own hometown now. Yeah, somebody said.
Maybe.
The last name Van. I know a lot of Vans.
Okay.
But anyway, go ahead.
From New South Wales, Australia. What is a funny story you share as a couple? Much love and God bless.
Oh, this is a good one. We have lots of funny stories. I'll let you pick.
What are you thinking of?
I don't know. Think of something appropriate.
Funny story. I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
I didn't sign that one. Funny story. Okay, I need to think about this. Maybe we'll come back. I can't think of one right now. I know we have lots of funny ones, but I'm being put on the spot here. I should have reviewed these earlier today or something.
Sorry, word.
Okay.
I'm
trying to think of a funny story.
I know I'm trying to think of a funny story.
Oh, this isn't a very funny story, but our first date in the States.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about when you thought I was going to be murdered on the night before our wedding.
Oh, man, yeah.
Sorry, but go ahead.
Yeah. That was funny, too.
That was funny to me, not to you.
I was just having a moment.
We're going to have to go back to that story.
But anyway, no, I was going to say our first, fun, it's more of a fun fact, not fun fact even, but funny, we went on a double date, but not even a double date because it was your brother and my best friend were not dating.
I know where she's going with this.
We went to a Mexican restaurant. This was our first date back in the States, when you came back from Nepal. And
I remember.
And I finished your dinner.
I know.
And it was really good.
I'm so skinny. I gotta eat faster. I didn't come from a family of 18 siblings where I had to scarf everything down because I didn't know if I was going to eat.
That is the thing. No, not because I didn't know I was going to eat, because all the good stuff would be gone.
Well, by good stuff, it's so I don't eat paper.
No.
If you don't want to eat just plain
broccoli.
Rice and broccoli whenever you're 7, because every 7-year-old loves to eat just plain rice and broccoli. Then you have to get all the food you can take to the bathroom.
Steak, or you want
and
the
you have
chicken,
to take it to the bathroom. She would eat food.
I wouldn't necessarily eat it in the bathroom. I didn't want the kids grabbing it.
Bathroom.
Little kids, yes, sometimes.
Yeah.
Just for the fun.
But the other story though was on our wedding night. I guess Jill hadn't been to a lot of bachelor parties, which makes sense. But bachelor parties, along with wedding day, groomsmen do a lot of pranks. And Jill just knew pranks, and she was terrified after our bachelor party, which I haven't been mean to a lot of people, so I didn't have a lot of people just out to get me. But they, my groomsmen, they wanted to like blindfold me and take me somewhere. I was
And
like,
I was
okay,
like,
great. I've been in a fraternity, so I've been blindfolded and taken places
I
before.
thought they were gonna do what some of my friends like went through, where
Well,
they
let me just explain
tied
this.
them up and put them in a car wash
no.
or something.
I asked Jill what she thought was going to happen because she called me crying that evening. She's like, I was so scared whenever you left blindfold. I was like, what did you think was going to happen? She's like, I don't know, tie bricks to you and throw you in the pond. I was like, they're going to murder me? Like,
this is not to do with our book. Okay.
They asked for a funny story.
Yeah,
this is the
funny.
bonus.
You're getting it real, y'all.
If it's in the book, then they're going to get it anyway.
That's true. Okay.
This is extra. They paid extra for the stories and the signatures, but okay, get the people what they want.
Okay.
Donna, if we get, is there one before Donna's?
Yes. We don't have to go in order. We can pick and choose,
okay.
But okay.
I'm just not very good at like skipping.
Oh, yes. Okay. Donna in Lake Cathy, New South Wales, Australia. After reading your book, are you raising your boys to be free thinkers and to choose any religion they want? Are you sorry for following the IBLP rules for raising children? Example, blanket training. We never did.
After reading our book, the book didn't really change my views a whole lot. But what were you saying? I
was going to say, we never did blanket training with our kids.
No, we never did blanket training. We used to like, whenever I was a teenager, like do the towel popping thing where you pop people.
That's not what they're talking about.
Isn't that like blanket training?
No.
Towel popping.
Derick doesn't know. Anyways,
we used to like explode styrofoam cups. To get back to the point.
She's trying to be.
I get distracted. Sorry.
But yeah.
I'm sorry. We came off a funny question. This is more of a serious question.
Yeah, I think.
Go ahead.
We want as a couple with our kid, like with our family, we weren't in IBLP. We were never in IBLP.
Someone said we left IBLP in 2020. We were never in IBLP.
We went to one conference after we got married as a guest, just because it's something that I grew up going to. And it was like 2 weeks after I had Israel, so I literally went to like 2 sessions maybe.
I thought you were gonna say
I was mostly there to see friends and stuff. And
I was there to people watch. No, I'm just kidding. There were some good.
Anyway, so yeah, I didn't really like growing up. I was part of IBLP because that's what my parents were part of. It wasn't something that I just like chose, but I will say like it was for us. It was like a fun conference time thing, which I think is something you have to be careful of because you can be led into something blindly and see the joys of it, and I see the draw.
They had good Kool-Aid there.
I see the draw with it, and that's the elusive part of it is like you can be drawn to something for the positives. Like I saw a lot of families who joined IBLP because they wanted community for their kids, and if you're having like a zillion kids and you want community for them because most families nowadays don't have the super wide span, like the wide age range of kids. You might not fit in other places. So you're wanting that. And so that can be a drawing card. And then this family camp atmosphere where it's kind of fun and they have like activities for the kids and all that. Like it's not just a horrendous place to go or else people wouldn't be drawn to it. There's like this fun side of it, but then when you pay attention to like the teachings and stuff, that's where it gets dangerous, we believe. So, anyway, so I grew up going to the conferences and everything, but to clarify, yeah, Derick and I were never part of IBLP. Like I said, we went as guests one time, and then I think I tuned in a couple times from like watching online or something after we were married, but like we weren't really part of it.
And I've actually there's other parts of the question.
No, I already answered it. The blanket training thing.
No, it's asked about
raising
your boys to be free thinkers.
Sorry.
Like as a father, this is something I think a lot about.
Sorry. Yes.
So Jill and I have talked a lot about this. Yes, I know.
Too,
but like one of the biggest things that like I think parents should teach their kids to do is to be able to think for themselves. And I want my kids to know why they believe what they believe. And ultimately, we're Christians. I want to teach them to follow Jesus and recognize that might we might have disagreements. We study the Bible, and people have different personalities. I'm just putting these.
Derick's putting books down on the floor, guys.
There's a stack of 10. The global church is very diverse, different personalities, different giftings, and their giftings are likely to be different than mine. So if they're called to be we were talking about this last night, if they called to be a hairdresser, then be a hairdresser for Jesus, do whatever God calls you to. Maybe it's if you want to be a trash man, and they can do the things that God's called them to, then more power to them. We would cheer them on in that. And they want to be a doctor, you got to find a way. We got to find a way to pay for school. We're not going in debt, but we'll support you, whatever you want to do, whatever that is. So we want them to think and know why they believe what they believe, because in college, what I saw is a lot of people who grew up in a legalistic culture kind of fell flat once they didn't have anyone looking over their shoulder, and they didn't know why they did what they did. So they had no depth to any of their thinking. And when people would ask them things, then they were you're more likely to be tossed to and fro and not really have the tools to think and understand and have discussions with people about whatever. So anyway.
Okay. Not to cut you off.
Yeah, no,
but Hannah from Greer, South Carolina asks, what steps toward healing have you taken? Any therapy or hobbies that have helped? Yeah.
Breathing. Go ahead.
Really, though?
Yeah, seriously.
Breathing exercises.
Therapy is really, we talk about this in the book. Mr. McIntosh, he's Creek, and we sat around a campfire with a peyote pot. No, I'm just kidding. But he was a wonderful therapist and really helped us heal ourselves. And that was probably the best thing for us. And it's important, Jill's talked about this before, but to find a therapist that works for you. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's kind of like finding a physician that you jive with or whatever. Not somebody who's just a yes person, but somebody that you really feel like can speak into your life and has similar goals as you. And also, we wanted somebody who is a Christian, who was a little bit further ahead in life than we are. And so those were things that were important to us. And anyway, so we were thankful that we found somebody that fit well with us. And a lot of insurances right now will cover it too, because they're concerned about mental health, especially after COVID and everything. So, yeah. I see somebody's asking, Jackie Ann on Facebook is asking, where can I get this book? So these books that we're signing right now, you can get at this link that's on the screen, premiercollectibles.com/counting. You can get autographed copies
But
of
I
the
don't
book.
know if she'll get this book.
Oh, yeah, I'm not
asking, we need to understand the question better. If she's talking about this one, I don't know.
Well, I'm not signing this to you, Jackie, but I am signing books, and these are not personalized. I'm not putting people's names in them. I'm just putting my name and then Derick's putting his name. So, yeah, not signing.
I was just making a joke.
Fortunes.
But no.
Anyways.
I brought that up.
I'm tired. Okay. So, anyways, but yeah, you can get the autographed copies here if that's what you want.
I'm slow tonight. I just got your joke. Read the book. Anyway,
but yes, that's where you can get signed copies. I will post later too. Check the link in my bio if you're on Facebook. Link in my bio has the link for Premier Collectibles autographed copies. So check that out if you want one.
Jill used to send me pictures
Instagram.
of herself with her perfume Moonlight Path.
Why are we talking about this?
I was talking about you're not going to spray your perfume in it like you did for me.
No, okay.
I was just being funny.
I didn't know what you were saying.
Sorry.
Babe, okay.
I embarrass her a lot. Sorry.
Yes, you do.
But I love that. It was a special touch.
I didn't know where we were headed with this. Okay.
You're talking about signing books and personalizing things. You personalized your letters to me and I loved it.
Yes. Okay.
Just a fun story. Anyway, sorry. I don't know if that was too much.
April. I just didn't know where you were headed with it. That's why I
sorry.
was like, okay, babe.
It's been a long day.
Yes.
You're turning red. Next question.
April from Manchester, New York. Do you feel pressure to have multiple children, or is there a good number for you to have and then be done? We didn't have a number for how many kids we wanted. And I go into that in the book a lot about the whole struggle with having a lot of kids, because that is something that I was taught with IBLP, where you had to have you always had to be open to having kids. You couldn't prevent having kids. So it could potentially create a lot of stress, because they would take the Bible verse about children are a blessing from the Lord and all of those teachings, and take it to where you can't ever not be okay with not having, you're just supposed to have kids. There's not really a choice in how many kids to have or whatever, or when to cut that off. So yeah, that was something that I really had to process, for sure.
This is one of the questions on the application whenever I was in a relationship with you.
Oh yeah, and that was in that courtship questionnaire. Yeah.
It was a book, but I didn't have a number, and I think, let's see, the question was early on whether or not I would leave the number of kids up to God. And I just thought, well, God knows how many kids I'm going to have, so yes. So I took that differently. So we don't have a number.
Yeah,
we just had kid, 2 years, kid, and then 5 years later.
Well, because we waited for a while.
Came out.
Yeah.
We don't know what's going on. No, early on, my father-in-law asked me at an amusement park after we were expecting our first child if I knew what caused that.
Oh yeah, because he got that joke a lot.
I never heard that joke, and I thought, I don't know how to respond to that. What if I had said no? Next question. I can tell.
Okay.
Shelby from North Chesterfield, Virginia. That's fun to say. Asks, how long did it take you to write your book? Well,
all night, every night.
Long night.
It was a lot of work.
It was. We started probably January.
Well, we started the whole process
about a year
last year.
About a year ago, we started the whole process.
And then our ghostwriter guy, Craig Borlace, amazing. He came over.
We actually decided after
2
the
days
documentary.
2-ish times. And he came three times though, an initial meeting, and then a couple other times.
Oh yeah.
2 days-ish, 3 days at a time. 2 days, 3 days at a time. One time he got a flat tire, and Derick, that was fun. Not for me.
I mean, it wasn't fun.
It was
but
funny.
It was a cool experience.
Funny,
looking back in the moment,
changing a tire.
You never want to get a flat tire, but in January in Adair County, Oklahoma.
Shout out to Adair.
Shout out to Adair County, my county. We were driving back from Stillwell, and we had Craig with us. It was Craig's British. He's rented a lot of cars in his travels. He's another reason why we went with him. He's very adventurous, has a lot of cool experiences. What are you tapping? Do I need to? Sorry, I didn't know if I said something or not.
Come on, let's.
Speed it up. Sorry.
There's a lot to get through.
We're almost done through the books.
Okay,
anyway. We don't have to answer all of them. We're going quicker. Anyway, this is a fun story too. It's extra. You're throwing me off track.
Sorry,
I can't focus. Anyway, driving back from Stillwell, he says his tire's going down. He said it's really going down. It's flat. January earlier this year in Barron Creek area, Adair County. Pull off this gas station, which I still need to try the food there. That was really good. I walked in. It smelled good. Sorry, I'm back on track. We're going to try the food there sometime. Anyway, I had to change the tire, put the spare on in the dark. And
it was an adventure. They
January,
definitely had an
cold
adventure.
With Craig.
That was with Craig, our writer. Yeah. That's where we were going with that.
Yeah, anyway.
So it took us we officially started writing the book in just January of this year.
January is whenever Craig came the first time. Then he came in.
We had written some stuff before then ish with him,
Probably,
but like full throttle in January of this year.
Yeah.
So after like
winter time.
all the initial stuff. So it was a lot.
Mid to late winter.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And we went, obviously, writing a book, go back and forth, lots of drafts. And it was originally supposed to come out this upcoming January 2024. But we decided to push it back and release it in September. So we pushed. Okay.
Need it for reference.
And tried to just get everything just how we wanted it. And then the process was complete about July, I think. And then the book came out in September. Anyway.
Okay. Kimberly Hinton from
Kimberly from Hinton, Alberta.
Oh, sorry,
That's
Kimberly. Okay. Kimberly from Hinton, Alberta, Canada says, "Hi, Jill. I'm a big fan. Thank you for sharing your journey. It helps and inspires me. What are some special things that you and Derick find most motivating during really challenging times, especially times where there is no immediate solution? I know I can always rely on God, but is there anything here in everyday life that picks you up and inspires you to get your day done joyfully? Thank you and God bless." Pumpkin spice latte. My husband, Derick was like, "Get yourself a pumpkin spice latte today." He was going to send it to the house, but I had to run and drop the boys off. So.
Oh, yeah, earlier today. It's been a long day.
Yes.
It's a crazy day.
I've reapplied my makeup like 4 times, y'all.
I think you just,
so
again, everyone's different, but you just have to take a deep breath and
therapy has been super helpful, like we talk about in the book.
Sometimes there's just literally no motivation. You just have to do what's in front of you.
Ice bath.
For that.
Derick listens to like these people that are very inspiring.
I got
I
got an Edge Theory Theory Labs tub today that came today actually. So that's part of my. It was not planned to say that, but
you've been.
It's a
cold therapy.
If you don't know, it's like cold water. It's supposed to
He's hardcore, guys.
It's just supposed to help you with stress. Like I found out that it helps with stress, and it's true.
Breathing, exercises, therapy, all those things, and then. I like to listen to podcasts too. Sometimes it's motivating, or I'll Marco Polo my friend or call a friend while I'm trying to chug away on things. I'm also like a sticky notes person. I write everything down just so I can check it off. Even if I already did it.
It just makes you feel better. Wake up, check.
I'm one of those people.
Brush teeth, check.
Yeah.
Stand up, check. That's
pretty
good.
much
That's
anything I can do to like inspire myself.
A win is a win.
Yeah.
Take that. Push it towards your next win.
Yeah.
But exercise is really good. Exercise, I feel like I have not been as good about that with my schedule lately, but running and push-ups and just trying to get those endorphins going is good. Good to kind of just get out in nature too. We want to get out in nature and go to the river. Go to the Buffalo River soon.
Yeah.
On vacation.
Ashley from Scotch Village, Nova Scotia, Canada.
That's also fun to say.
Pretty cool place, it sounds like. Are you both much happier now that you have stepped away from counting on? Yes, and I think going back to one of the earlier questions that we had here about that, it was more about like the way that it was set up, the control that we did not have over the whole filming thing. Like we loved our film crew. They're all great people. I know I mentioned some of them by name in the book. We love our film crew and they really are sweet people. And we just hung out with one of them when we were in New York doing some promotional stuff. We hung out with Frank. And then I was like FaceTiming Billo, our sound guy. So like we love our crew and but as far as like counting on
Uncle Jim Goodwin.
Yeah.
Give us cool radio.
Yes. And all of them. Scott, Courtney, everybody. So it's one of those things for us where it just be control and say so over our lives in the way that it was structured and set up. And so
it really felt like we're running into things in the dark.
Yeah. And then for our kids, like we wanted to have more say so over their lives, allow them to
Yeah.
have more freedom and stuff. So,
So again,
yeah,
it's
that's
not that
where
we're
we're
against
at.
reality TV and not saying we wouldn't do a show in the future, but just we would like to know that there's an agreement and to be a part of that agreement and have a say so.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, Crystal in San Diego, California. Beautiful weather there in San Diego. Love it. First of all, I wanted to say again that even though I don't know you, I'm proud of you and how far you've come. Now for the questions. What was the hardest part of writing this book? You want to take it one by one or just do them all?
And then
Okay,
we'll go
then we'll
back
go
to them.
Second, did you experience any setbacks? Third, or did it come naturally to you once you started?
I think Craig really, our ghostwriter, helped us a lot through the process with kind of recognizing the high points and like low points of the story and kind of helping us create a better like cohesive theme.
Taking the whole book and making a good structure.
And then, yeah, but as far as our story, we were able to have a lot, like for a while, we've been like taking notes and kind of processing together and with our therapist, kind of like thinking about what would be important. And as we talked to friends of ours about our story, we could see similar points of our journey that really they were like, oh my goodness, yes, like I walked through the same thing. And the more that we talked to people and the more we really felt like there was this issue with isolation, breeding control issues and manipulation and all of that, that's where we were like, wow, like this could actually be helpful to other people. And
because I think a lot of people feel like no one would understand their situation, and if there's a controlling person related to it, would like to isolate them to be able to continue to control them. But no one's story is exactly the same, but there's a lot of common threads throughout all of them. So like I know, like Jill used to say, like her dad would say, well, don't talk about the show because people wouldn't understand. That's just, everybody doesn't have a reality show, and just keep quiet about it. But in reality, there's a lot of common things that everyone can relate to. Our therapist in particular said, well, there's a lot of similarities between y'all's story and anyone who, I'm thinking like, especially like in rural America, I'm sure it's like that anywhere, but like who has like a family business, like a family farm, and everyone's just kind of tied to the same property, one big community type thing. He was grew up on a farm. And he said there's a lot of similarities between y'all's situation and any family that would have a family business or something that everyone relies on everyone for. And it takes a lot to step away from that, because it's a decision on taking the easy path and just kind of doing what is prepared for you. And if you already have farm equipment and everything established, and that's great if you're called to that. But if you want to step away, there's difficulty in pulling away from family, and it becomes harder financially too sometimes.
Yeah, and I think she's asking like what the hardest part of writing the book is too. I think that
deciding
it was
you
hard.
don't want to be misunderstood. I feel like you've got trying not to be misunderstood. I think is really hard. Go ahead.
Yeah, that especially, and then you working a lot and trying to be like working on it together. That was hard because he's been working full time the entire time. And so,
which is another reason why having a ghostwriter helped, because we spent a lot of time on 2 weekends in particular just sharing our story. And I feel like having someone to get as an outsider help to sort it out and not go down a rabbit hole, because it's easy to do that. And I think it would be easy for us to do that if we were not careful. So we wanted to keep, there's a lot we could talk about. And really, we've been making notes for years about writing a book. And it could be 900 pages, but we had to pare it down to like something that's pretty standard readability. So we'll have coffee
Craig
sometime.
Really helped us. Yeah.
You know, sometime we'll have coffee with people and talk about stuff more. But anyway, we always did that in Nepal. You just have tea and get to know someone. Or we take Kim.
Just kind of skim and see what you want to do. But yeah.
Do you have a favorite? Kim in Hillsborough, North Carolina asks.
Oh, I was going to shout out to Kaylee. Kaylee asked, can you shout out to Kaylee from however you say this on Facebook? Okay.
Oh, go back to it.
Right there.
Oswego.
Oswego.
I don't know if that
would mean a lot. I'm a super fan of you guys, and I'm so proud of you guys. So, hey to Kaylee.
Hey, Kaylee.
I'm looking at more Facebook comments here. Lots of people on here.
Thank you all for the kind words
Yeah,
about the
thank
book.
you guys. It really does mean a lot. Just because this has been like a heart-wrenching process writing the book, and then just all the emotions we're
Got
feeling.
friends in Illinois, North Carolina. We went to North Carolina, speaking of North Carolina, on our honeymoon because we did not want to have that filmed. So that's why we did not do a big extravagant international honeymoon, because we said we're not going to do a filmed honeymoon. So they're like, well, that's fine, but you have to cover it, or not. The filming will not cover it. So basically, we decided to go to North Carolina, not because that's like we're settling or anything, but we weren't going to go to like Italy.
Yeah.
Because we couldn't afford it as a young couple. But
somebody says, I'm so sad you're going to be Lori King Gammon says, I'm so sad to see you're going to be here in Tulsa tomorrow night, and I have another concert to attend. But I'm going to buy your book soon. Thank you, Lori. And yes, I'm so excited to be able to do this virtual event with Premier Collectibles. And so you can purchase your autographed copy here. Just reminding people who can't make it to the in-person event in Tulsa
and
in
a really
Fort
cool
Smith.
Concert.
But yeah, have fun at your concert.
Have fun at the concert.
Yes, and I'm glad you're able to join in the live.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you have any more questions on there you want to hit?
Kim from Hillsborough, North Carolina asked, again, North Carolina, Jill, do you have a favorite memory with your Grandma Mary? I loved seeing how close y'all were on the show. I know she was so proud of you.
Aw. Yeah. I remember, I was just thinking about the other day, actually, Sam, our little one, was putting, our middle one, was putting a bunch of like crazy, like he wanted to make a crazy hairstyle on me and putting a bunch of bows and like everything that I own for my hair in my hair. And it reminded me of whenever I was a little kid, doing that with my Grandma Mary. And
excuse me, sorry, I didn't know how long that was.
Sorry. With the sparkling water. Anyway, putting all of the bows and all the scrunchies and whatever we had in her hair. And then my mom had pictures and we put them on the wall and everything. So
I love Grandma Duggar.
So fun. And then she would always make us eggs. Like anytime we were going anywhere, because we lived in her house for a while. When we came back from the mission field, we were in her house with her, and she was always like, do you guys need eggs? I can make you some breakfast. She always made us breakfast.
She was the best.
Yeah.
Lynn from Chandler, Arizona asks, if your parents are still practicing IBPL, do you think the younger kids still at home are or would pull away from IBLP teachings as they get closer to adulthood? I don't know.
I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe they'll read our book.
Maybe.
Not trying to like cut off, but we're trying to get through the questions. Anna Marie from my hometown of Rogers, Arkansas, go Mounties, asks, do you worry about Janet and her lack of being able to leave from your father's hold or hold to Bill Gothard's teachings?
I don't know. Like I try and not like meddle too much in my siblings' lives. Yeah, I don't know where they're all at. I don't want to speak about their stories and everything. I'll let them tell their story or figure it out themselves. But I think anyone who has grown up in IBLP, it's definitely a process, and it's one that's very hard to come away from and kind of sort through. And I love how my sister Ginger in her book talked about disentangling your faith and what a process that is and how hard it is, and you really have to have like support around you to make that happen.
And kind of like what we talked about in the book, it's hard whenever you're in something to see something from the outside. So the book starts out talking about just the bewilderment that people saw looking at a family in this culture, but then at the same time, or after a while, as you establish your own identity, you kind of realize what it is the further you get away from something. Kind of like if you're like leaving Earth, you look back and Earth looks very different when you're not standing right on top of it. Sorry, I've been reading all these. You can read some of these too if you want.
Andrea from Park Ridge, Illinois asks, are you still close with your mom and dad?
They're about 20 minutes away. That's close.
So yeah, probably more like 30 minutes.
30 minutes. Sorry.
But yeah, I love my family, and that's something I did want to emphasize in the book as well. Is that I do love my family. I love them. That's why like it's been a like years long process of like the hardships and stuff that we faced with family. It's taken us a really long time to even be able to tell our story because we wanted to do it very carefully and lovingly. And even though we talk about very difficult parts of our story that happen to involve family members, we wanted to approach it with as much love and care as we could, even though we're addressing hard topics. So I definitely love my parents. I don't see them just a ton right now. Things are very complicated, especially with my dad, my relationship with him, and my mom. When we do get together, she's always sweet to bring over birthday gifts and all of that. Like anytime there's a holiday or birthday, they haven't stopped like loving on us, giving gifts and stuff like that. They always want to do that, and that's very kind of them. And my mom, we just try and like allow her space and not bring stuff up. I don't really want to drag family members into the middle of the issues if they don't have to be, and if that's not where we're at. And we don't want to just talk about it every time we're hanging out either. So we want to keep that.
Makes for a healthier relationship.
So yeah, we kind of realized that. But
Kendall from Winston, Georgia asks or says, "Hi Jill, I've been a follower of yours for a long time now. I'm just curious to know how you're feeling now that this book is released. I'm so proud of you and will continue to support you. Much love, Kendall."
Thanks, Kendall. So yeah, when people were like, "Are you so excited for your book release?" I would be like, "Yes, I am," but it's kind of like a nervous anticipation as well because it is a heavy book. It's a heavy story. It's one that we've lived. And so I was telling Derick the other day, I said like it really feels like even with these last few days since we've released the book, that we're kind of like reliving it all. Like, I don't know, kind of like one of those movies where it's like chop, 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 chop. You see all the clips of your life, just like
your life flashes before your eyes.
Really literally flashing before your eyes. And you're like, oh, like answering questions, interviews, like all of it. It is emotional. So I've had some breakdowns here where I just like crying, like, oh,
we just need
we're very thankful for the prayers and support right now because it is a very difficult time, even though it's an exciting and like happy time to have.
We need a therapy session soon is what she's saying. It's just kind of your tank is only so full and there's a lot.
Yes.
That's why, again, this is a conversation here. We're not getting to know y'all. We're getting to know you through your questions, but like we want this to be like a conversation. My personality, like I like humor when I'm stressed too. So that's why
you embarrass me sometimes.
That's why it helps to know
and grab your leg and squeeze.
It's helpful and then
you say, "Why did you squeeze me?"
Yes, it's helpful in a relationship to know each other. And I think that's been a part of our story too, is understanding each other.
Like we talk about attuning
to each other. So like she attunes to me well, and Jill's not like, take this more seriously. She knows that like I'm more just like deep down stressed myself about just all the tension and all these situations we discuss. And she grounds me well.
And you do the same because you'll be like, go get yourself a pumpkin spice latte.
Yes. And I'm going to set up my Edge Theory Labs tub soon and get that going. Emily from Black River Falls, Wisconsin asks, what has been the biggest shift in your life since becoming more separate from the rest of the family? Probably just the community.
I feel like at first it was very much like just being
isolated, probably.
Isolated, like we talk about in the book, and not really knowing who I could trust, what they had heard about me as we had kind of pulled away and were kind of looked at as like the prodigal child and black sheep and those types of things. So, it was just hard. I think that was probably one of the hardest things was just change in relationships and community and everything, and having to start from scratch kind of is what it felt like.
That's the thing about these.
So
Yeah. Get to these. Lyndall from Norris, New South Wales. Sorry if I butchered that name. Just says, just wanted to send love from Australia and a big, great day. I admire your strength. Thank you, Lyndall. Donnell from Muncie, Indiana, asks, with all that has happened to your family, would you say that your faith has changed? If so, in what way?
I think our faith has stayed the same at the core levels, but it has been rocked, I would say, like shaken. But like any trial and adversity that you go through, for us, we just have clung tighter to Jesus and the hope that we have in him, and knowing, I think it just also makes us look forward to heaven, where we know that on this earth things are not going to be perfect. And so it's more of that realization of life is not perfect. And I mean, you know that losing your dad already, like things are just not perfect here on earth. And
I think this is a good place to point out that it's important for everybody to, if you're spiritually minded, to parse out what you follow, because it's cultural versus what's actually biblical. You follow the Bible. There's a lot of things you might do, and you might not know why you do it. You just have always done it, And sometimes people challenge each other on those things, and it helps you really get into your Bible and understand why you do what you do. Jordan from Baltimore, knowing what you two know now, aside from knowing each other, would you have decided to court each other the same way you did, or what would you do differently? I would have married her when I was 18. That's what she said. If we had met earlier.
Yes, that's what I said. You married me earlier.
We'd have eloped. We thought about eloping.
No, we probably wouldn't have eloped, but I think we would have.
It was tempting.
I don't know. Like, I think there was so much to our story that I was not strong enough and independent enough to have done things differently. But if I had been, and if we had been able to, I think that we would have done things different, like with our wedding, or put our foot down a little more. But then again, like if we had done that, it would have created the rifts that we saw happen earlier. So I think God's grace was covering certain aspects of that, where we just didn't need to be dealing with all of that stress right then. So yeah, it's been a journey for sure.
Here's Dear Jill. Here, I'll say it since it's talking to you. Dear Jill, I was one of the journalists covering your family, wrote a rather sweet story about the growing family in 2007. What was our visits like for you? What did we do wrong, or what did we miss? This is Karen from Karen in Washington, D.C.
Oh. I don't know. I think I've had some people who are like, oh, I wish I knew like different things that were like troubling in your family and I could have done something. But the hard part about IBLP and the culture that I grew up in, complicated by filming, is that it's kind of like a house fire, where you have to actually like recognize that there's a fire and recognize that there's a danger there. And if you don't recognize that, then you're not willing, like you're probably not going to be saved from it. Unless there's something outside of your control. I mean, it's kind of like right now with some of my siblings, where there are
kind of like what we were talking about before. You don't realize
IBLP.
it till you get out of it.
Yeah, there are problems in like the teachings and stuff, but if you don't recognize that there's a problem, then like you can't change other people a lot of times, so you can't just like talk sense into them.
Unfortunately, a lot of times you have to have something blow up to realize that there's a problem. So yeah. I feel like if everyone's schedule revolved around filming, it might be hard for them to recognize that there's an issue. But our first year of marriage, I was working full time, and
so it was like a definite wake up call.
It was a big wake up call, because it was like we had to coordinate all these things that a lot of everyone else didn't. Nobody else, I think, at that time had to coordinate as far as like
we were
schedules.
Raising red flags and concerns, like other people having the same.
There was nobody else at that
terms,
time
so-
working like out
Well,
or in a.
Like Josh and Anna were ish, but they were still
But it was
filming and stuff
related-
too, and it was different. But
The understanding though going into it, from what I understand, was that it was kind of from the
it
beginning.
was set up different.
It was
yeah.
set up to be to work out with filming. When I started my job, they had no idea that it was doing filming.
Anyway,
that's one thing that kind of blew up in our face. And again, like you have to work through boundary issues, and you don't realize there's boundary issues
boundaries book.
until people run through your boundaries and slam into you.
If you're struggling with setting boundaries with family, or if you've been in a toxic situation, whether that's with coworkers or whatever, a book that really helped me that I mentioned in our book was Boundaries by Dr. Henry Cloud and Dr. John Townsend. And I was just reminding Derick of this last night, actually. I was like, oh, yeah, I remember I had heard about that book for a while because we listened to the Dave Ramsey podcast a lot for fun, entertainment, whatever. And so he was always like bringing it up. And I, like when we were going through some of these family issues way back, I was like, oh, that book sounds like really helpful and I would love to read it. But we were pretty tight financially, so I didn't know if we could even get the book at the time, which is kind of funny looking back because we were literally on like reality TV and everything, but we just
with boundaries.
No, I'm just saying like our budget being super tight back then. So I literally was like, hey babe, can I
It was a stretch to try and do a $5.
can I order
book.
this book? And I got it on I got like an older copy that was used for like $5, shipping included. And yeah, read that book and literally like highlighted almost the entire thing. I was like, what's the point of highlighting it? So anyway.
It's like my first year of law school.
Yeah. Shout out to Boundaries book though. If you were looking for something to kind of in addition to our book, of course, but
in addition to the Bible.
In addition to the Bible, ultimately, which is the guidebook
for life.
But
that sounded really cheesy because but
no,
it's true.
But like,
it's very true. But it just sounded very
well, and they're believers too. But
yes,
helping you sort through and
you're saying Henry Cloud and John Townsend are believers.
Yes.
When you say they.
The Boundaries book, is very helpful. Because we had a lot of people reach out to us like, how do you make boundaries? What's that process like? And whatever.
Believers in Jesus Christ and Christianity.
Yes.
Just so because I don't know our audience.
Sorry,
here.
my lingo.
No, it's fine.
Were there any more questions that we want to hit on there, or do you want to go to some Facebook? We have about.
I don't know if this is if our
minutes
moderator
left.
Can even like come in, but like I don't know if there's like a hard cutoff or if we can just
They said
go.
an hour.
Well, they said wrap it up around 45 minutes.
They said 45 minutes to an hour, at least 45 here.
Okay,
so,
okay.
Yeah,
so we're good.
We're good.
Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah. Yes.
She says you're good. Okay.
Yes. Thank you. Sorry, Maria from Boston, Massachusetts. Boston, Massachusetts says thank you so much for writing this book. I already finished my ebook version. Thank you, Maria, and can't wait for the signed copy. My question is, you still have underage siblings living in the big house. Is there anything that could be done to help them get out of IBLP's harmful influence before they grow? I remember Jennifer was so attached to you and as her buddy, and I wonder what the little ones are being told about your story now.
Yeah, I feel like I just have to trust God,
We respect that they're minors and their parents' house.
I'm not like trying to like usurp my parents or anything like that. So I respect where they do have minors in the home, and ultimately I feel like God is in control. And so while I can pray and while I see harmful things in the teachings of IBLP, I just have to trust that ultimately that God is in control. And but I am concerned whenever I see things that I feel like are harmful in teachings like that. I appreciate your thoughts on that and your concern there as well.
Angie in Shelby, Ohio says, I love the reality show. I never missed an episode. Any chance of you and Derick having a show? My love to you and your wonderful family.
Not right now. We don't have any plans.
Not
for the
immediately,
show.
but again, we're not opposed
I
to
don't
it
know.
completely.
I don't know.
Write your show ideas to Jill.
No.
No,
Well,
just
yeah,
kidding.
actually give them to me. That way I can just shred them. I'm joking.
And just so everyone knows, I'm not like pressuring her. Like, it's not like we have to have a show where we're not gonna eat. Like, we're doing fine. Like,
Yes.
if we did it, it would be a decision because we want to do it and not out of necessity.
Yes. A little bit much right now, though.
A little bit much.
No.
Yes. Sorry. Talking about the stress and PTSD. But it's more just about having control.
Oh, here's
Tara.
one for you,
Oh.
babe, from Facebook here.
Oh.
Ashley Hart asks, why didn't Derick just go back to accounting? So Derick's undergrad is in accounting.
I don't know. Just
We have
go
like
back after
3
what?
minutes here
Okay,
left.
just go back to accounting.
Don't
This
take
is-
it all up
yeah.
with this.
So we always felt called to the mission field. And when we came back from the mission field, because we found out the contract existed and that door was shut, that was at a crossroads in our life. I'm glad you brought this question up. Accounting's not bad. I like accounting. But because of some injustices that happened with Jill and her sisters, as well as other things just colliding with us at the time,
Mhm.
like we really prayed about and felt a calling if we're going to for sure have to be in the States for an extended period of time because of the contract, that we wanted to invest in. We wanted to invest in law school and felt that would complement accounting also. There's a lot of people who go do accounting and law together. So in a lot of ways, it made sense that this is something we can invest in and really use to give back. And the Lord worked it out. We just prayed, if we're not supposed to do it, shut the door. Kind of like we walked forward in our relationship. Like, I'm going to pursue Jill. She seems like a great girl. I feel love for her. And unless there's like a reason not to do it, like I just had a desire and felt like I could give back and try and help protect victims' rights, because that wasn't done in our story with Jill. And I just really wanted to give back and make sure what happened to her doesn't happen to other people.
Mm-hmm. Okay, just a couple more questions here because we're at the very end of our live stream. I saw really quick, I wanted to say shout out to Pat saying thank you so much. I saw your little note earlier about sending gifts and cards. Yes, we have gotten them and we're so grateful. So thank you so much. Mary Lou Olive asks, how is your dog? Our dog is great, Fenna. She's wild and crazy as ever. And we love her.
Here, I would just
Oh my word, no, we would not bring her in here. She would eat everything inside here and be up here just drooling all over the
Eat all your books.
eating the books. Like, you guys would definitely notice she'd been around. She's still very much like a puppy, even though she's not. And then
20
Sheila.
seconds. Oh, a minute, 20
Sheila
seconds.
Ann asks, how can we pray for your family?
Thank you.
Question.
I think, especially in this season of life, just pray that God would give us the strength to protect us against, just different attacks that don't want to see this book. Help people, and just for supernatural strength and comfort and just oneness as a couple and as a family would be wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
for
So,
asking
just a reminder, you can purchase the autographed copy through Premier Collectibles, which is what you're watching right now. premiercollectibles.com/counting, or at the link in my bio if you're watching on Facebook or Instagram or wherever. Hit that link and you can get
that
your
link.
autographed copy of Counting the Cost.
Here, show them the inside of it. You can see.
Yes,
Here's a preview.
autographed
Kind of
copy.
like that.
So, anyway, thank you guys for joining us.
It's been fun. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, this is John Acuff, New York Times best-selling author of 7 books and someone who's done a live signing. If you like the one you just watched, make sure you check out our YouTube channel. It's full of amazing authors having great conversations and signing books for viewers just like you. So make sure you subscribe.